While at the fort, we saw how young soldiers are being prepared for the field. At Fort Huachuca, these soldiers are part of the 111th Military Intelligence Brigade. And this is the 305th Battalion, the largest training squadron on post. It's one of the first stops for men and women fresh out of boot camp.
On your feet! You're done! Let's go!
For about 80 days, Site Maverick serves as a temporary home and full-time schoolhouse, an environment designed to prepare soldiers for the battlefield. It's under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel T.J. Fearnow.
We are so large because of the profession that we're training. The Army has a requirement for a large number of 35 Foxes, and that is our all-source intel analysts. Those are the guys that they're looking all the different information and putting that together and providing that to a commander.
Here, soldiers learn to become subject matter experts, disseminating information, piecing it together, and then briefing battalion leadership.
And then on the 24th of February, Urban Round was forced to retreat.
In this simulation, Captain Aaron Reibel listens to a presentation by Specialist Austin Olson. Captain Reibel is analyzing the soldiers' confidence, language, delivery, and knowledge of the subject.
Why was armor in support of infantry prior to this?
The Americans partially due to...
Every presentation is serious business because in a combat environment, the decision that a commander will make will determine potentially the effects of the overall battle. And so the ramifications are super serious. I mean, they could be the difference between the loss of U.S. forces, of U.S. lives, or the defeat of an enemy force. So while the students here are extremely young, they're just entering this profession. At the end of the day, once they have their legs under them, they're looked at as subject matter experts.
Specialist Olson has been in the military for 4 years. Critiques from officers are welcome as he transitions from reserves to active duty.
We hear a lot about how this is something larger than yourself. Is that true, or is it just a slogan?
Yeah, when you're lower enlisted, like people like me, you don't really see the big picture until you start working with your officers and your first sergeants and your higher enlisted, your senior NCOs. You start to see the bigger picture, and especially when you get older, you definitely see the bigger picture, and it all starts to make sense.
What's a day like for one of your soldiers in this battalion?
I would say pretty busy. So they don't get a lot of downtime, and it's designed to be that way. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide them with as much information, as much training and mentorship as possible, and stress them to a degree. Because that simulates what they're going to be faced with in a garrison environment, but more importantly in a deployed environment.
A little bit of gravy left.
On this particular day, there's some downtime as soldiers eat a hot lunch and our crew gets a first-hand look at their home away from home.
They spend a good majority of learning their profession in a building. It's a schoolhouse, a campus. They're learning their job. Well, now we need to put them under a little bit more stress and so that they can see what it's going to be like. So we bring them out here to the field. Now, on top of doing your job, battle tracking, and dealing with everything that you've learned in the classroom, we introduce the austere environment. But it simulates that environment, that field training environment, even combat environment that they may be exposed to as soon as they leave here.
Come on, you two, let's go!
This is not for the faint of heart, and the practices here are designed specifically for that reason. As you said, to apply some stress for real-world application.
That's right. So for a lot of them, it's a shock, depending on where they're coming from, what experiences they've had in high school. In some cases, you know, they haven't necessarily had a whole lot of structure in their lives. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do the job we do without structure. And so our entire profession is built on discipline and understanding where that structure lies so that we can be efficient in our work. And this is kind of a microcosm of the Army as a whole. But we're taking a very disparate group and we're creating a community. We're creating a community that is solely focused on defending this country.